Okay. It is.
Okay. It is 7:02. I'll call the meeting of the library board actually in order.
All right, roll call. Chair Marie Hotta.
Here.
Vice Chair Andy Szekeres is not present. Maggie Burns.
Present.
Scott Gilbert.
Here.
Edie Hughes.
Here.
Gina Oberding.
Here.
Dina Phelps.
Here.
Chris Ray is not present. Amy Wilson.
Here.
We have City Council member Chelsea Noonenkamp.
Present.
Inglewood School Liaison Dwayne Tucker.
Present.
We have staff Christina Underhill, Bethany Lafferty, and
Corinne will be back.
Corinne Barnett will be present. Okay. Okay. All right, we're all set. Thanks.
Take a quick look at the minute.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second. Any opposed? Right. No public comment. So we can move on to statistical report.
Okay. Items of particular note. I have updated the page views for the website and the catalog. So we are now using the analytics that the city of Englewood uses for the entire city of Englewood website. And so I was actually able to go back to July. Although in July, the number was really low, like 330, because we were starting to transition pages and stuff like that. So some stuff started to be dead. We think that's why the analytics didn't calculate very well. But with the launch of the new website, I mean, just in August alone, and I talked it through with Lucia, that 10,000 just individual, like, kind of page hits is basically what we got, which is a huge increase for our regular website usage. And then I was able to get updated information from Marmot regarding our catalog usage. So
Can I
that,
ask about the website? Was that was before the new website was launched, or, sorry. That was
300.
Yeah.
yeah, so like in July is when we were really starting to transition some of the pages. So some of the pages ended up being dead links, and so like they weren't being recorded anymore because those weren't the page links
Right.
anymore. It's a little bit confusing. And then once everything got kind of more stabilized with because the city was sort of changing the path, if you
Yeah.
will, on the URL. So that all was getting changed in June and July. And then was more stabilized in August, and then we launched the updated website towards the end of August.
Okay.
So with the expanded information, I hope and that we'll start seeing an even larger increase in usage of our website, because we have way more information available on the site now than we did before.
I was just wondering if publicity around the launch of the new website might be like part of the numbers as well.
And I think that's why I think that September's number will be a really good indicator, because we did launch the new site on August 24th. So it was at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So I feel like with the promotion of the site over those next, few weeks, and then at the beginning of September, we also updated or did the promotion for the book club kits, which got a page on the new site too. And then the catalog, I think the catalog numbers are more in line with, they might be a little bit lower, but honestly, I have a feeling the analytics that we were using before might have duplicated some things, because that's what I found out from Marmot, was that the reason they relaunched their data analytics was because they discovered it was duplicating stuff out of from Google. So I did actually go back, you guys can't see that in this one report, but it is reflected in the year-to-date total. So if you compare back with the past report, it will be a little bit different, because I updated the Marmot numbers going back to March. So that's a little bit different, in that area. But now we're in a position to have much more accurate, especially for the website, much more accurate picture of usage. And Lucia, in communications, I talked to her about what is the most useful information from the analytics to utilize, and she said overall page views is the best indicator of use. So we've definitely done really well there, so that's great. And our Facebook engagement, I think, is starting to creep up to the higher levels that we saw before, so that's really good.
That's some good sized programs.
Yeah.
Some significant jumps in, like the outreach, what are outreach programs like that?
The one that's depicted here under the adults, for August was the Lafferty.
Oh.
Maggie did a really good job of cooking.
All right.
Give me a
Trying to count our interactions with people. So it is kind of just an estimate of the number of people that were in that, the staff and board members that volunteered interacted with during the block party. So that one in particular was from the block party. Yeah, a lot of good attendance at both the, youth and adult programs. Oh, the other thing I wanted to just point out was for volunteers. So there was 102 volunteer hours, 7 adults volunteered 52 hours and 17 teens volunteered 50 hours. The other thing I wanted to mention with regard to incident reports, there was one incident report that hadn't been completed before the end of the month. So that was not included. So where it says 5 ejections, that should actually be 6 for a total of 12 reported incidents last month. So
Do you feel like there's a trend toward things getting better with incidents, or is it just too up and down to know?
We've had kind of a critical incident recently.
What was that?
Violence towards the Civic Center and staff, and we actually met police on it today. We'll talk about it a little later, I think. Discussing staffing levels and some other things, but yeah, the individual was, I think has a mental illness. It wasn't drug or alcohol related, and was quite violent verbally.
Yeah.
And kind of physically too. Nobody really got hurt except our guard, but that happened back.
yeah, so like in July, there was a physical altercation with this individual. They were excluded from the library. They returned the next day, ranted and raved and screamed and brandished a rock at the allied security guards. And basically was excluded again, returned Friday. We didn't really pick up on it that he was here Friday. And then Saturday, when it was discovered that he was here and that he was violating an active exclusion, police were called. They asked him to leave the library and started shouting in the library, left fairly quickly with the police, but then continued to rant and rave outside of the Civic Center at the south lobby of the garage, walked around the building, threw a rock through the window in the north lobby. We did have a library employee that witnessed him throwing rocks at the windows. And then staff heard something break in the lobby and came out, discovered the broken window, discovered the rock on the ground, called 911. And police were able to apprehend him up by the light rail station later Saturday morning, so.
After being tased correctly,
Yeah.
multiple times, 6
So,
times.
and we've had escalating incidents with this individual, so there's a lot of concern over the enforceability of the exclusions. What are the, what other things do we have at our disposal to keep people out of the building? So at this point, he's excluded for 180 days. Should he return? There's also a protection order from Arapahoe County. So that's further,
Doesn't sound like either is exactly bulletproof shield.
Nothing really is. I mean,
And yeah, there's some legal things that limit how much we can ban somebody from the building, and from the library. And the part of the meeting we had this afternoon was to kind of clarify what we need to do to ensure the highest level of enforceability of these exclusion forms. And, what are our options for following up about, significant incidences and violence and stuff like that to ensure the safety for the employees, because there definitely seems to be a sense of retaliation on this individual's part because he was previously excluded, and when he was reminded of that exclusion, flew off the handle and then damaged the building. So just a lot of concerns about that. And it kind of, the safety issue kind of dovetails into some staffing concerns that we're gonna bring up a little bit later too, so. I don't know, and then the same day, so there was that in the morning, there was a drug incident, and then there was just an aggravated, erratic person later in the day.
It was all on Saturday.
So there was 3 significant incidents on Saturday,
Just
which,
this last Saturday.
Yeah.
so that was, that took its toll on staff. Cause that's a lot to deal with in one day.
Yeah.
So 12 incidents, I feel like is not a lot, and the most of them were ejections. So, a lot of the times we're just telling people you have to leave for the day. But sometimes when the exclusions occur, they're pretty significant. For August, the 2 exclusions we had for August was public urination and destruction of property within the library. So
Somebody was urinating inside the library.
they technically were outside the building, they were outdoors.
Close enough.
Pretty. I think that person was asked to leave the library because of their soiled garments already. And that has happened in the past, unfortunately, at the same time. So those 2 weren't like the worst things we've had to deal with. The destruction of property, we did call PD to come and issue the exclusion to that individual rather than library staff do it. And they went very smoothly and the person left. Haven't seen him come back, so that's good. So for the most part, the tools work and they're helpful, but we have these outlier situations that are much more significant and violent, and we need to know how to protect ourselves and what ramifications there are for us to keep people from coming back. And there'll be additional discussion with the Public Works Department, who oversees the contract for the Allied Guards, to ensure that they too are being that first line of defense that we want them to be. So, working on that. So,
Any other statistical report questions? All right, move on to the action plan.
I feel like there's a lot of good updates for the action plan. Sometimes I feel like I'm searching for updates, but there's a lot of.
The library will close in 15 minutes. Please bring your items to circulation for checkout at this time. The public restrooms are now closed for the evening. Public computers will shut down in 5 minutes. Please save or print your work now.
But yeah, this month everything came really easily, so. Under the formal volunteer program, the update there is that we've got the book sale underway. We've had a lot of our existing volunteers helping out with sorting the donations. A lot of the staff helped sort the donations as well. We got a ton of stuff, and we have a mix of library volunteers as well as several of you here on the board volunteering during the sale. That will start officially on Friday. I will have an email going out this evening to this group as well as a few other groups of employees, the council, Cultural Arts Commission, a select group of library patrons, to invite you all to our first look sale, which will be Thursday evening from 5 to 7:30. So it'll be like the first look at everything we've got for sale. Yep, this Thursday evening from 5 to 7:30 up in the community room. And so the sale will take place in the community room through Sunday. And then we'll move everything back down to the pairing room, possibly the circle, depending on how much we have left over for a $5 bag sale. So everything you can fit in a bag, $5.
Do you get to bring your own bag?
No, well, I'm working on getting bags to provide. If somebody does need.
huge bag from IKEA.
The paper sack size from Trader Joe's available. So that will be the size of that.
And it's here. right?
Yeah, the bag sale will take place out of the library, because we have to move out of the community room on Monday because of city council, so we can't be in there.
Okay, where is the sale?
Upstairs.
Yes, that community room, that's just like at the front of the second floor.
Okay.
Yeah. So really looking forward to that sale and really excited to see bring in permit. So, and everything will be earmarked for the summer reading programs next year for both adults and children.
I was gonna ask, do you have some kind of goal that you're shooting for or anyone? That looks like already too early.
I mean, I don't really know, just based on my past experience, I would love it if we made at least $5,000, but I feel like there's the potential for more depending on how many people come out to the sale. Because I've seen large weekend book sales bring in as much as $12,000, so it just depends.
Are you, how are you advertising for that?
Well, we've done some social media stuff. Put an announcement on the website. I think, do we have an email? When are we gonna do one? I can't remember.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, because I do think,
Saying it's coming.
yeah, so I think there's that, and then, we were gonna take some of the flyers to a couple of area businesses to just put them up this week. You don't want to do it too far in advance, or then people forget about it, so. We've also made some bookmarks with the sale details, and we've been trying to stick those in people's books as they check out.
Do you have some that we could take with us?
Sure. Yep, can definitely give you some stuff before you leave tonight. So yeah, that's the book sales. We're excited about that, and then moving forward with what we do for the next book sale. Okay, so our non-traditional item lending program, the new website was unveiled on August 24th, and then our kit keeper system was added to the new website September 1st. And so now we have a reservation system where people can reserve book club kits in it for advanced dates rather than just like placing a hold. So you can basically place a future hold and manage that a little bit better. And so we're putting together, all the kits have these folders in it with lots of resources. Hannah also made these little zine things that promote the book club kits, and those are just kind of all around in the library to help promote it. We've done social media posts. I don't know if there was an email about that one. I don't think we did an email about the book club kits. But the people that we interact with that do check out book club kits, we've been letting them know that this is available too. So we're excited to see how this starts working out for folks, and then we'll be adding titles each year, a couple times a year. So, and then we're working on, now that the book club kits are set, doing some of the other kits that we have, the storytime bins, youth enrichment kits, board games, and whether or not we want to pick something new to add to it, because it has the capacity to do a lot. So we can add other things if we want to do them down the road. Just really is about how much space we have to store the stuff that we want to make available. So we're going to use the things we already have and promote the use of those things. Public schools update. So we're kind of in the final stages of getting Sora set up. I met with Paul Whitaker a few weeks ago. We kind of had a dual purpose meeting where we were talking about the student accounts and then also the setting up of Sora. So at this point, Paul will work directly with Overdrive to get that set up and establish how students will access our digital collection of ebooks and e-audiobooks for children and teens. And so that will be like a specialized site just for the England schools. And then we're working with Marmot to finalize how the student accounts will be set up. And Paul will have to send a data set to Marmot, and we just have to make a final decision about how passwords are going to be worked out, because that's kind of the sticking point, is the requirement for passwords. Most recently, a side note that I included in here that affects the schools is that, due to violations of the end user license agreement with Pebble Go, we have had to deactivate that subscription because the subscriptions are really intended for schools. But the library was subscribing to a single site license. And when teachers access it in a school setting, even if they're using their personal library cards, that's a violation of the user agreement because it's, the school is considered an alternate site. So this has been happening to just about every public library that offers Pebble Go. So they're all kind of scrambling to figure out, can they still offer it? And can they have a workaround of some kind? Broomfield Library and Littleton libraries are, I think, attempting to do just in-library access. In conversation with Kimberly, our children's librarian, she didn't think that that would be an advantageous thing for us to do because she doesn't think we would have any in-house use of the database. So we decided to deactivate it. The remaining credit that we had for the rest of this calendar year, while we couldn't get a refund for it, it was offered from Capstone, the parent company of Pebble Go, that we could use that credit towards purchasing books published by Capstone. So that's what we did. So that was, and I've talked back and forth with Joanna at Inwood Schools and just let her know that it may be something that the schools want to pursue in the future if they feel like it's something that's worthwhile for them to subscribe to themselves. So that was kind of a bummer. I know that there are several teachers that used it pretty regularly, so. So just a side note about that, that was kind of a sad thing we had to end. What else? Staff development. We do have a staff development day coming up this month in September, where we'll spend the day doing training on some updated procedures and updated work assignments that we're going to be doing. And then identifying smaller teams, but particularly among the library associates. So people who will specifically support the adult services kind of agenda, and then people who will support the circulation team kind of agenda. So we're trying to formalize that in terms of duties. And we hope to roll that out at this in-service we have coming up. And then the last part, library marketing. So again, the library website was launched. We do have a new color scheme, more clear navigation, promotion of our special services, a completely new adult services section that promotes our programs and other services like the book club kits and stuff like that. So that's like completely brand new that we have all of that stuff on there. Online sign up for the homebound delivery and just a lot more details. We're promoting the parks passes that we have, because that stuff, the state park stuff was never promoted before. And I feel like I left out because the social media team that Corinne leading, maybe they started in that.
The library ends in 5 minutes. Please finish your work and head toward the exit. Thank you.
Kind of just started that at the beginning of September, but you'll start seeing a lot more social media stuff coming up from the library. So they've created kind of like a, I don't know, plan of content that they'll keep doing, kind of themed posts and stuff like that. So that's starting to get underway.
Okay, we have no budget remaining, and just to jump ahead a little bit before we carry on, I had a message from Andy. He has a family emergency and is not going to make it, so we'll just table that part until next month.
Okay.
So, new business. Film programming update.
Do we want to do the recognition, public comment? Do you want to jump back to that? Were you guys going to speak at all?
Rachel, did you guys want to do anything for a couple of them?
Okay. Well, no, I know what she had talked about.
Okay, I just wasn't sure, and yeah, we did it right before you guys walked in.
Okay.
I know, interesting. Okay. All right.
Okay, should I just want to sit somewhere?
I don't know, where,
Should I
stand? I don't know.
I used to be on the table.
The table?
I thought
these tables. There's like drafting tables.
From Scott.
Okay. So, adult programming update. I understand that Kimberly was here last month and you all decided you wanted to hear from me too. So, yeah, okay, well, I probably won't make you cry. But we had a very successful summer reading program this year. It was the first adult summer reading that we've done in 5 years, because I believe the last one we ran was in 2018, the year that I started here. We had 126 people sign up. We had a 4-tier prize program, so every 10 hours that you read, you got some prizes. Tier 2, which was 20 hours of reading, we had 74 of those 126 signups completed, so that's 20 hours. And then we had 63 of those people actually read the 40 hours, which gave us some really good stats for how to proceed with next year and everything, and doing, we're gonna do prizes a little bit differently. We were very generous with prizes. Maggie also wants to read like 900 hours. We're gonna have to think about some. Yeah. We're gonna try out some for her. Yes. Yeah. We also ran a bingo, which was similar to what we do with the kids, where there's like little activities you can do around town. The bingo, we only had 25 people actually finish that, which was kind of different, but just giving us a good idea of what adults are interested in versus kids. It's funny though, because it was all of the parents that told me that they wanted to do summer reading also. So I did it pretty much like the kids, and they were like, well, you know. So, but yes, we started out the summer doing Tuesday night movie nights. We were doing all movies from 1983. They didn't go very well. We only had a couple of people at 2 or 3 of the movies. However, I think that the staff and I enjoyed watching Christine quite a lot together there in Hampton Hall. So we did put those aside for the summer, but we had 3 very successful monthly programs. We had an 80s party in June. Just listened to music. We did some trivia, all dressed up like crazy people. It was really fun. And in July, we had our cornhole tournament, which we had over at a local park. Everybody came. We have cornhole sets now. We can do that again. So it'll be a lot of fun. The kids came too. That was an all ages one. So we had, oh gosh, what, 21 people at that? Yeah, 21, 22. And then in August, right to like close everything out, we had a murder mystery party where we had 15 people. That was a lot of fun. The adults really seemed to like murder mysteries, much like the teens.
So please exit the building. We will reopen tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really exciting, especially the murder mystery. We had a lot of people that were really excited and saying that they wish they'd known about the earlier ones we've done and that they can't wait for us to do one again. We will be doing another one in February of 2024. We like to do a Valentine's Day one because what says love like murder? So, yeah. So, we'll be doing another one then. In terms of new kind of adventures in adult programming, Rachel actually has been working very hard on expanding the Homebound program. We have a solid plan of how we're going to be handling that going forward. We've had several new signups. We have a whole new sign-up sheet, which I of course forgot to bring, even though that.
You can see it on the new website.
You can see it on the new website.
The document is downloadable as well as an online sign.
Yeah, you can fill it out on the website and you can fill it out in person. It's really great. We've developed some pretty good relationships with some of our local seniors that are homebound. We have weekly trips to Orchard Place and Simon Center happening right now. And the Orchard Place folks, from what I understand, they all come downstairs and they're super excited to see everybody get their books and everything. So that's been really nice. With the new website, we launched the adult services page. We will be getting programming up on that page very soon. And it's been really nice to have something that's a lot more navigable to kind of look at and everything. And then talking a little bit more about the social media. We did launch the social media, we relaunched it. They've all been waiting for us to make a decision for a little bit. But end of August, and I kind of said, let's just start with new content in September. So we have two associates, Kirsten and Vivian, who are working very hard on getting all of the social media stuff out. Great graphics design background, all of that. So some of their new stuff that they've put out, you'll probably have seen already this week and last. So I think that video went out today. There was a
Video game thing.
video game day video went out today. Yeah, so lots of fun there. In the fall, we've just launched our English language conversation club. Our first one was this last Saturday. However, because of all of the incidents, some people got scared off, so we just had one person at it. But really excited for that. That's going to be on the second and fourth Saturdays, and it's just going to be kind of an open for English language learners. At the end of the month, the Severe Weather Shelter Network will be presenting their Homelessness 101 program. It's going to be a community conversation kind of thing to kind of talk about homelessness and get things launched and hopefully recruit some volunteers for their severe weather shelter this season. Also have an upcoming series with Home Watch caregivers. They're going to do a lot of things about aging and caregiving. They're going to do a monthly series October through January. And then in October, we're going to be doing Spooky Bingo. That'll be our after hours program.
It's what?
Spooky Bingo. It's just bingo. But there'll be spooky things. So just wear your costume and we'll have a costume contest and you can win some of the prizes that are left over from summer reading and things like that. And then we'll be doing conflict resolution as well in partnership with the Restorative Justice Program. So we have a movie night that's going to be a restorative justice documentary. And then the following week, we're doing a citywide book club. So it's all very exciting, fun.
What's a citywide book?
So it's come get the book and then we'll all come in and we'll have a conversation about the book. It's going to be a bit larger. So we'll have several copies of the book available here, but we'll also have places you can go buy the book, things like that. So yeah.
What,
It's sort of like the concept of like a one city, one book, trying to
Yeah.
just like incorporate, members of the community, city employees, people to just all come together for a very specific book club.
just one,
Yeah,
Just one
yeah,
book.
it's just like
Just
a
one
one
time.
time. Yeah.
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 so
one and done?
One and done type
What's
thing.
the title again?
So
Something
we just changed it.
Did you? Okay.
So it is now actually the state conflict resolution month choice. So
Oh,
it's going to
is
be
it?
one that everybody who's kind of celebrating conflict. It's
Okay.
Listen Like You Mean It. And I'm gonna butcher the name. I think it's Ximena Gomachia.
Okay.
And she yeah, so Listen Like You Mean It is the thing. And it's actually it's not gonna be one that if you haven't had a chance to read it. There's actually like activities you can work through in the book. So we'll probably do one of those as more. Yeah. So, yes. So that is pretty much all I have for my fun adult programs.
What were the prizes for the adult?
Oh, goodness. Tier one.
Maggie can tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll tell you.
you took them all.
Picked them up, yeah.
You know, they're still in my office. I should go get them. That's next to you too.
I know.
I'll give you. Okay, I'll go grab them. For tier one, after 10 hours, you got to pick out some stickers for like your laptop or water bottle. And what was the other one? Oh, a pin. I'm sorry. She knows more than me. For tier two, you got a free book and we also were giving out water bottle holders. They're pretty cute. They're neoprene, which is awesome. Tier three, we give you a s'mores kit and a blanket.
Oh, what?
A s'mores kit, like a little kit with
Oh,
individually wrapped marshmallows and yeah, to make your own s'mores and then a blanket to sit under the stars with your s'mores.
if there were stars in Englewood. And then tier 4 is, it was a $25 gift card to Tattered Cover. And you also got an Englewood Public Library bag with our old logo on it. So now those are outdated. So now I have to do new logo.
Those were really good bags.
They're,
They
were
stay
great.
way better than the living room.
Yeah, like canvas
Yeah.
and big. But all kinds of produce in there. Yes, yeah, they were good bags, so, yeah, that was our price. For the bingo, you got a reading light, and, we had coupons from different places. So we got.
So great.
Yeah. If anyone would like a free breakfast at Chick-fil-A, I can bring those in. I have about 300 of them left. So I'll bring them in. These prizes, I'll go put those on my desk, so.
I really love summer reading.
I saw a lot of people like online complaining about wanting a book it Pizza Hut style summer reading program or another one. And I was very proud of our local library for having a fantastic adult summer reading.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks, Corinne.
Welcome, good job.
All right. Library card sign up month and city council proclamation.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that at the next city council meeting on Monday, September 18th, there will be a library card sign up month proclamation that will be read. September is always library card sign up month. I have to go like way back in our social media and find that there was a little video that was posted on our social media about library card sign up month. It is kind of a sponsored event by the American Library Association, so they do provide some promotional materials and stuff. So that's what we used for our posts. So just trying to get the word out about our library card.
Who can answer this trivia question of who was the actor and what was the show that made library cards extremely popular?
Arthur. Sister DW. Sorry, I see the name.
Happy Days, the
Oh, yeah,
Fonz.
you're so right.
The fonts.
The Fonz got a library card and all of a sudden it became really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And library card membership or whatever you want to call it, spiked. It's kind of fun.
That's cool.
There's a chair that might get to make it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Because I know there's a lot, we were trying to get it at the beginning of the month too, but there's been so much stuff on the agenda. It's been just fun.
But we tabled this version of last night, 1 AM.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we did not discuss that, so it might be.
after we like,
We'll get there.
after losing a whole.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, which is fine, but, so we were just trying to kind of promote it amongst ourselves. It's just another way to bring attention to the library and stuff like that. So, and American Library Association provides kind of the format for the proclamation. Thought we would try to tack it in.
I'd also say it'd be great to get that, we do a pre-approval with the proclamation at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And so we don't have to discuss it, it'll just go into the.
Oh, that's good to know. We're gonna add it for.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Right.
That's what was up January.
We'll make sure it's at the end of the year.
Whenever we get that.
Well, it'll probably continue to roll out.
Hear that.
I have more.
Oh, did you hurt your back carrying all that?
So we.
You're welcome. Let's keep going. Old business, used book sale.
Yeah, I feel like I forgot that we put that in there, so,
Yeah.
just, keep an eye out in your email, sending out that info about the first look sale opportunity, and then the sale is this weekend. So I'll get some new to you book, and then steep discount.
Right. And if anyone's still available, the Final Genius is still
Yeah.
Right?
We have a good amount of people for Friday and Saturday. And we have one volunteer, Amy switched from Sunday to Friday, which is great. I mean, I kind of do feel like Friday and Saturday might be the busier days. But we do have one of our library volunteers, and then myself and another staff member that will be here on Sunday. So if you do have any availability, that would be great. You know, if not, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, definitely, I'm very happy that so many of you are able to help out with that.
All right, study and meeting group policy.
So I just wanted to update you that it's not really a major change to the study room policy that we reviewed earlier in the year. The only thing that has changed is that we are making 3 study rooms available for advance reservation up to 1 week in advance, and you can reserve the study rooms online in our meeting and study rooms page on the website. So there's a link to click on it to reserve. And we have 4 study rooms total. 3 will be reservable in advance. 1 is being held for just walk-in use only. So if somebody didn't reserve in advance, the other ones are used, we still will have 1 available. And then everything else is still the same. And then the meeting rooms, you can also request meeting room reservations online as well. Those are mediated, so they're not automatic. Like if you make a study room reservation, it's like automatically approved and you're booked. But the meeting room ones will be like a reservation request that will be mediated by a staff member so that we can confirm whether or not there's other meetings, and then explain what the cost of the rental is, or have the opportunity to waive it if that's appropriate. So that's the only update on
The
that.
study room doesn't cost it.
Correct. Yeah, study rooms are free for use, limited to 2 hours per day per person. The meeting rooms, we allow, meeting room reservations to be done up to a year in advance. We charge $10 an hour. And they can have like recurring monthly meetings. We have a lot of community groups that use the space. And we have actually several city groups that use the space too. We obviously don't charge our city employees for the use of the meeting room. So, but now all of that is available to be requested online rather than having to call or send emails. It's a direct link into our reservation system. So we just, with the website, we wanted to make that feature available with our website update. Just wanted to share that.
All right. Do we need to make a motion to table that?
No, we'll
Okay.
I'll put it on next month's agenda.
Perfect. All right. Then staff choice.
One thing we're trying to do in the city is be more sustainable. So, moving forward, if you're okay with us not printing an agenda for the meeting, we won't. But if you do want one, let Debbie know.
And I'll
Prior
print
to
for
print it for you, but we print a lot of agendas. And
You
so,
want to work.
yes. And what we can do too is share this, but I know it's nice. I like it because you can write on it. But if you would like one, let us know. Otherwise, we won't print one for you.
I'll be a boomerang table.
Anybody else? 3. You're okay. So 3 for sure. If you change your mind, just let us know. We'll get you one. And then we have a handful of events coming up. September 20th, we have the symposium for senior safety at Malley from 10 to 3. If you're interested, we have a lot of vendors and speakers at that event. And then September 26th is our Homeless Connect event. This will be the 3rd year we've done it, and it's kind of grown in success every year. That's 11 to 2 at Cushing Park. And we'll have a shower truck, a laundry truck. We're trying to secure a barber, to give haircuts. That was pretty awesome last year to see transformations happen with individuals experiencing homelessness that maybe hadn't had a haircut in a long time. It's very cool. They look very different and professional. And then a lot of nonprofits that can offer resources and services to help people either experiencing or wanting to learn more. And then just mark your calendars. We have a fall market and trunk or treat on October 21st here at the Civic Center. Trunk or treat is from 3 to 6 p.m. Fall markets from 10 to 2. Tickets are required for trunk or treat.
Fall market.
That's, it's just a farmer's type market. Out
What
here in the
time?
Civic Center, 10 to 2.
What day?
The 21st, it's Saturday,
October.
October, and if you want to see Miss Kimberly, she will be at Trunk or Treat.
Is there gonna be like a sign up to be part of the trunk part of it, or?
Yeah, I think it's open now. I think you can sign up to have a trunk, but the tickets aren't yet for sale.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did
we're
not
close.
see that one. I think it's coming,
Oh, maybe it's not
Okay,
launched.
sure.
just, yeah.
And that would be the science.
Yes, yep, correct. And then, the other thing we wanted to discuss briefly is we are having staffing challenges again. Whether it's related to some of the incidents we've had or, staff have left for full-time jobs, which we're happy for them. But we are experiencing short staffing again and trying to fill positions. I think we're seeing lower application levels than we ever had before. With like, Kimberly and Children's has, a position available and only 2 people were interviewing because we had very little applications coming in. And so we're playing with some ideas of, how do we do this? Is it an emergency type closure if we don't have enough staff to cover? Obviously, like on the weekends, like this last weekend, we probably should just close the building because Saturday was a really bad day here. And I think Sunday staff had a lot of anxiety coming in, not knowing what to expect. And so while we have Allied here and we do have our in-house security, we're still having challenges. So we'll keep you all updated. We've been playing with ideas of potentially days we could close just temporarily for the month, like what do you say, Sunday, Monday, just temporarily. So we have safe staffing levels here. On Monday, we were short staffed. I helped cover security on Monday.
Here,
Where are you talking?
Yesterday, they
Here.
were short.
Here in this building?
Wow.
The library,
Just in the
Yeah.
Oh,
library.
in the library.
just the library is really experiencing some
Oh.
stuff. We've reached out to our recreation department to say, hey, do you have staff to be willing to come over and maybe just help cover
And part
security?
of it, it's just like the perfect storm. We had 2 part-timers quit. We had 2 people that were on like planned vacation. And then somebody that was out planned sick because they were having surgery and then people actually got sick. And so it just was kind of, so Christina volunteered to come down and cover the security desk Monday morning because we just didn't have enough people. So and that's the problem is that when we lose staff, we can't absorb the vacancy with the people we have because we're stretched so thin already.
I think that with all of these issues that we're having, it would be huge to come up with a policy that we can
Okay.
support for when you do an emergency closure. You need to be safe. And it's not acceptable that anyone is being put in this, these circumstances and in harm's way.
Yeah,
I think that is something that you should. put
and
as a priority.
it's unfortunate that it kind of triggers itself, like if we have some kind of threshold that we say this triggers a closure for these dates. The thing that I have a hard time with is then if we say we're closing on these 2 days a week, the people who are regularly scheduled on those days now have to adjust. So it's like we either have to stick with something that's gonna be long-term or we keep piecemealing it together the best we can. And I don't know. So I feel like there is conversation that needs to be had and a thorough examination of our situation, because at any point, if we lose staff members, it just triggers this avalanche of if somebody's out sick, we're coming into the respiratory season.
Yeah.
People are gonna be sick and people want to take time off. It's gonna be the holidays soon. And we'll find ourselves with just pick a skeleton crew. And it's really tough to go back and forth and jerk people's schedules around. That's one of the concerns I have.
Well, I think that an emergency protocol
Yeah.
is a really good idea to start, but I would also say, are you noticing Sundays being open have been busy and worthwhile to the staff?
I mean, they're not, in my opinion, because we don't do anything but open the door. We offer no programs, we offer no services, but checking out materials and using the computers. So Sundays are not a super busy day. I worked this past Sunday. There's not a ton of people, and some people come in, we're only open at 12. So some people will come in a little bit later in the afternoon, but then they're only gonna get a couple hours in because we're only open for 5 hours. And the shortchanging it does on our scheduling for the weekday, which are longer service days and busier with programming and other services like our home delivery. That makes those days, we're thin on staff there because we're pulling people to put them on Sunday.
The board has made like very strong recommendations in the past too, like close, and if that's what you need us to do right now is say like, we need to close on Sundays until you're staffing enough, then we can discuss that.
The thing I feel about that though is that it's like staffing will not be up for years, because every budget cycle I need to ask for more staff. So it's not like just for these few months, it's a permanent thing.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be a permanent thing, because we don't offer that much on a Sunday. Like, it's great that a library is open on a Sunday, but what are we really offering but a space and like an extra opportunity for you to pick up and return materials? At the expense of the greater level of service that we could provide during the weekdays. And so we try to get 6, 7 people here on a Sunday for 5 hours. But that takes away from how many people we can have on other days of the week. So
Are there patrons you see on Sundays that you don't see in other days of the week, like people where that might be their one day that could be able to go?
what do you say? Like one person
Regular.
that they seem to come only on Sundays?
They're the only Sunday regulars, as far as I.
Okay.
What does Denver do?
Well, Denver they're starting to reopen some of their branches on Sundays because they just got $30 million. So, they're starting to increase their open hours at several branches where they were closed Sundays and Mondays at many of their locations. A few of them are starting to open because they're expanding the staff that they have there. They're expanding their service hours. But they still have a lot of branches that are closed on Sundays and Mondays. Some both days, some just Sundays.
The 2 positions you're trying to fill now, are those non-benefited part-time? What's the hourly pay?
The current range. Well, that's a whole other,
I think it's 17 to 23.
yeah.
That's tough.
And
You
I,
can go to McDonald's.
And most are starting around 20.
yeah, I think we start most of them between 18 and 20, depending on their experience.
Yeah,
We definitely pay more than other libraries.
no, I just mean
Those
the
types of
current
positions.
environment, it's like, every time I go to the grocery store, it's like 20 more bucks for the same bunch of food.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and I think with the workload that we have though too, we're asking our library or part-time library associates to carry a bigger workload than it would be appropriate for a 20-hour a week position. But that's because we have to like max everybody out
Sure.
because we're trying to do so much. So I don't know.
Do you want us to recommend closing on Sunday?
Well, I mean, and I guess the question is like, where does this really come from and how do we make it? Is it just the recommendation of the board needed? Does city council have to approve a permanent change like that? And where is the drive for being open 7 days a week really coming from? Because you also have to consider the increased security issues and security costs. That was one of the things that's been discussed recently for providing additional security on the weekends when only the library is open. And there are increased costs occurring for the police department to provide additional safety and security for this facility just across the board, but it's limited to Monday through Friday. So, where do we? I don't know. And I don't know that this is like a moment to make a decision and recommendation for that, but we have to start considering a permanent change.
Well, I just wonder if you're in a time of crisis and that's what you need for right now, like, we can do that recommendation and then it can be an open discussion at the next meeting. But-
We do have the ability, with the city manager and my discretion as well, like if another Saturday happens like this last
Yeah.
Saturday, we are shutting down. I don't want this library to be open. The staff are traumatized. They're hopefully gonna get some help with dealing with what happened. Cause it's quite scary and unfortunate. And, we shouldn't have probably even opened on Sunday, because coming back, one of our staff worked both days and had a, I talked to her both days and I'm like, are you okay?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You're scared this individual's gonna walk back in and retaliate in a very
Yeah.
bad way. And so I think from that perspective, if that happens again, that decision will be made. So let's just shut down and let the staff go home for the day. If it was an incident in a school, everybody's going home that
Yeah.
day. So I think that's what.
We've had a couple times where we have had to close at 5 because we ended up not being able to have enough people for the closing hours and, so Christina does have that ability to say in the moment, like, we just don't have enough people. I mean, we used to stay open on Friday, on Saturdays, I mean, with like 3 or 4 people, and we don't let that happen anymore. If that was gonna be our situation,
Okay.
if we only had 3 people that were reporting, we would not have closed.
Okay, well, if you want to make that an official, then that's something we would all support you.
Yeah.
Well, Beth, I wonder if need our support or whatever, if you could come up with maybe a couple of recommendations of this would help, if we reduce these programs, or if we reduce hours on these days, or if we closed on Saturdays, or come up with some, choice A, choice B, kind of, and the implications for that for your staff and like considerations for patrons kind of thing. Maybe then we could help provide a recommendation for safety of your staff, but providing the level of service that you want to provide, providing the programs that you want to provide, that kind of thing. I mean, 'cause I don't know that there's just one easy answer. It doesn't seem like one easy answer.
That's true.
Some decisions going to impact someone, but the safety of your staff seems to be of utmost priority.
You don't want to end up here with another November of last year kind of meeting where
Yeah.
it was really bad.
I don't think we're in that same spot, but
Thanks to those two over there.
certainly, yeah, because Rachel and Hannah that have been here in the meeting tonight, they're our full-time librarians. So what our current effort is to convert the part-time positions we got to full-time. So we're kind of at a critical point where we're able to do that, but then we have additional vacancies on top of it, which is making it a little tricky. So like we're filling a part-time vacancy right now. We have an open position that we'll be interviewing and hiring for within the next several weeks. And then as soon as the budget is confirmed for 2024, we will be able to start making our plans for hiring those 2 new full-time positions. So we're not necessarily, we're not really gaining any more hours technically.
Right.
But it'll be a more stable 40-hour week schedule than we have right now, the 4 part-timers. So, and then the whole thing will start over again for me in the next budget cycle to try to further increase full-time staff in the library, because that's what we need more than all the part-timers. It's a slow process.
Oh, there's a hearing, right?
So now,
Yeah, go ahead.
so we will go to the budget next week, for the first reading. And, those positions, those transfers from the 4 part-time to the 2 full-time, that allocation is still in the budget. I don't think, there's been no, council objection to it, so I think that will go through just fine. If those of you who've been on the board for the last year will remember that, we did allocate additional funds in January of this year. And with this was an ask to say, if this is not enough, please come back to us at the budget cycle. So we are responding to that request and would like to see additionally. The majority of council in January did want the library to stay open on Sundays and the way that it serves our patrons. But we're very clear about what do we need to make that sustainable. Something else the city is doing, we did in the last year, is a compensation study across all the employees in the city. Because like many things in Inglewood, previous leadership has underinvested in a lot of what comes to the sustainability of the city, and that includes our people. And so we have experienced in all the departments of the city, just the toll that turnover takes. It's quite severe, and we historically been very under market in Inglewood. So city council has allocated $1.7 million in the budget this year to help start bringing more and more of our staff up to even close to market rate.
based on the compensation study that we've done. So those are the things we take turnover, I take it pretty seriously, and I think it's, actually, it's like very poor stewardship of our people and also taxpayer resources to keep wasting so much money and time and energy and having these conversations and the toll that it takes when we experience so much turnover. So I think more full-time staff, more benefited positions, better compensation, is a good place to start, and I look forward to hearing more feedback about how we make it. That's really important.
And what's the date and time of the hearing again?
So the public hearing was last night.
Oh, that was.
Hearing, we will vote next, meeting, first reading and, second meeting on.
So letters to council would still be.
Yeah, we voted, yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else for semester? Okay. Board members' choice to do anything else, Chelsea, on the rest side? Okay. Dwayne? Anything?
Yes, I do. Tangential to the school board update, before this group gets together again, there will be a ballot issue in front of Inglewood voters, just not that any of you forgot about it, but just reminding you just in case you have. That was shameless, I'm sorry, but as far as the school board we had a special meeting not too long ago, and we did vote to put the mill on the November ballot, so I've given you guys updates on that. A couple of you here are now in full effect supporting that effort, so Gina and Ray, thank you very much.
Yes, on 4A, yes, on 4A, that's all I can say.
You only did it twice too, I was expecting 4.
Yes, on 4A, Bleeding Inglewood Schools.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. So you'll be hearing more about that. You can look on the website. We'll be doing all kinds of things around that. But part of that is exactly what you're talking about, Chelsea. When we look at salaries, we've given staff salary increases the last 2 years. And some of them, I mean, a couple of them are pretty good percentages. But when we look at what's going on in neighboring school districts, we've let a bunch of teachers this year and trying to keep salaries competitive for the exact same reasons you just talked about for city folks. And the nice thing about this one is it's going to end up being tax neutral. We have an old existing bond that because of, I won't bore you with the details, but because of assessment values and everything like that, we're able to reduce by 5 mils the tax impact on that one. That's going to be offset by the 5 mils we're going to get on the new one. I'm speaking it into existence because it was. That's right. So it will be tax neutral and it will raise about $4 million a year for the school district too. We'll be able to put that money into technology transportation, but frees up 4 million for some of that money will go to salaries and stuff like that. So. Yeah, then we have the, what is the big kickoff meeting? The big malfunction is when, September what?
September 26th
And it's where?
at the Western Sky.
That's right, very good.
Right.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a kickoff kind of rally, just to get people to, excited to share some information about what it is and what it isn't. And, kind of a call for volunteers too, so that we can just help educate people, because I think that's gonna be the biggest key here is, I think in general, people believe in schools. People believe in education, but it's just, we need to inform people what the tax implication is or is not. Because I think that's gonna be the confusing thing, because in the ballot language, for Tabor, we have to say tax increase.
It is,
We
it
have
is
to
a
say
tax, yeah.
new tax. Well, that might turn some people off. But when you read further below, this offset from this bond, 5 year, neutral. I mean, that's the piece. It's the education. I think it's just talking to people about what it is, and what it isn't. So we're gonna have this kickoff meeting and then get our volunteers together to really just educate those that are gonna be, well, we want people to vote for. Do we want people to vote? Yes. So it's a lot of just education.
All right. Volunteer.
Big football game Friday night too.
They're at homecoming, that's right, with Littleton, homecoming, that's right.
On the this Friday, or
Is it?
Second, so kind of-
Next week.
There's Littleton games on Friday.
Little time to go.
Littleton is this Friday though, so, yeah, and since they've stolen so many of our teachers, we want to kick their butt. Humiliate them.
All right, any other board member? Thank you all for being here. We will adjourn at 8:07.